On November 6, 1962, a significant moment unfolded within the halls of the United Nations. The General Assembly adopted Resolution 1761, a resolution that would reverberate through history. This resolution formally condemned the abhorrent system of apartheid in South Africa. It was a declaration, a powerful statement, that the world would no longer tolerate the brutal racial policies enforced by the South African government. Apartheid, an Afrikaans word meaning separateness, was more than just segregation. It was a meticulously crafted system of oppression woven into the very fabric of South African society. Enacted in 1948 by the National Party, apartheid codified existing racial prejudices and transformed them into law. This wasn't simply about separate facilities or restricted access. It was about power. It was about control. It was about denying fundamental human rights to the vast majority of the population simply because of the color of their skin. Imagine, no, not imagine, know this. Black South Africans, despite comprising the majority of the population, were systematically dispossessed of their land. Forced into designated areas, often overcrowded and impoverished, they were denied basic freedoms. Their movement was restricted. Their opportunities were stifled. Their very existence was controlled by a minority white government. They couldn't even enter white neighborhoods without a special pass, a physical manifestation of their second-class status. The wealth disparity was staggering. While a small minority of white South Africans held the vast majority of the land and the country's wealth, the black majority struggled to survive under the crushing weight of systemic oppression. This wasn't accidental. This was by design. Apartheid was a carefully constructed system designed to maintain white minority rule and exploit the black population for economic gain. The UN resolution was a beacon of hope in this bleak landscape. It was a recognition that the injustice of apartheid could no longer be ignored. It signaled the beginning of a concerted international effort to dismantle this oppressive system. And while the struggle would be long and arduous, the 1962 resolution was a critical turning point. It marked the moment when the world finally said, enough. The 1962 UN resolution wasn't a sudden eruption of international concern. Its roots lay deep, nurtured by years of activism and advocacy. As early as 1946, just 2 years after the UN's formation, India brought the issue of discriminatory treatment of people of Indian origin in South Africa before the General Assembly. This early challenge, often overlooked in historical accounts, is crucial to understanding the growing international unease with South Africa's racial policies. It was a precursor, a foreshadowing of the decades-long struggle that lay ahead. The UN's persistent focus on South Africa, even in the face of initial resistance and defiance, underscores the organization's unwavering commitment to fundamental human rights. It's a testament to the power of international pressure, the belief that collective action can bring about meaningful change. The resolution itself was more than just a symbolic gesture. It had practical implications. It called for concrete actions from member states. It urged them to implement sanctions against South Africa, including a crucial arms embargo. This arms embargo, though initially limited in its impact, was a significant step. It aimed to isolate the South African regime, to restrict its ability to violently enforce its discriminatory policies. The resolution also established the Special Committee Against Apartheid. This committee was tasked with a crucial mission: to meticulously investigate the situation on the ground in South Africa and report its findings back to the General Assembly. This signaled a shift from observation to active involvement. The Special Committee became a powerful instrument in the fight against apartheid. It diligently gathered evidence of human rights abuses, documented the countless injustices perpetrated by the regime, and amplified the voices of those silenced by oppression. It kept the spotlight firmly fixed on South Africa, ensuring that the world did not forget the plight of its people. The committee's work was essential in maintaining international pressure on South Africa and in mobilizing support for the anti-apartheid movement. The year 1962 marked a turning point, a pivotal moment in the long and arduous struggle against apartheid. The UN's condemnation, though it didn't immediately dismantle the system, sent a powerful message of solidarity to those fighting for freedom and equality in South Africa. It was a declaration to the world. The international community would no longer stand idly by while a nation institutionalized racism and denied its citizens their fundamental human rights. The fight was far from over, but the 1962 resolution laid the groundwork for the continued pressure and eventual triumph over apartheid. The struggle against apartheid was far from over in 1962. The road ahead would be long, arduous, and marked by both triumphs and setbacks. The resolution, while a significant victory, didn't magically dismantle the system. South Africa's government, emboldened by its powerful economic and military resources, initially defied the international community. They doubled down on their oppressive policies, intensifying their efforts to suppress dissent and maintain their grip on power. The international community's response was not always unified or consistent. Some nations, driven by economic self-interest or political expediency, were reluctant to fully implement sanctions. This inconsistency undermined the effectiveness of the UN's efforts and allowed the apartheid regime to exploit loopholes and maintain crucial economic lifelines. This period highlights the complexities of international diplomacy and the challenges of achieving collective action in the face of conflicting national interests. Within South Africa, the resistance movement continued to gain momentum. Inspired by the UN's condemnation and emboldened by international support, activists within the country risked their lives to challenge the regime. Figures like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, and Oliver Tambo, already imprisoned or exiled by 1962, became powerful symbols of resistance. Their unwavering commitment to freedom and equality, their willingness to sacrifice everything for their cause, served as an inspiration to millions both within South Africa and around the world. The anti-apartheid movement outside South Africa also grew stronger. Civil society organizations, student groups, and individuals around the globe mobilized to pressure their governments to take stronger action against the regime. Boycotts of South African products, divestment campaigns targeting corporations with ties to the regime, and protests highlighting the injustices of apartheid became increasingly common. This global groundswell of support played a crucial role in isolating South Africa and raising the economic and political cost of maintaining apartheid. The UN's condemnation in 1962, while not the final blow, was a crucial catalyst. It helped to shift the global tide against apartheid, galvanizing international action and inspiring resistance within South Africa. It laid the foundation for the decades of struggle that would eventually lead to the dismantling of the system and the birth of a new democratic South Africa. The story of the UN's involvement in the fight against apartheid is a testament to the power of international cooperation, the importance of persistent advocacy, and the unwavering pursuit of justice and equality.